Erin Parisi, Dallas arts advocate, filmmaker, women in film president. I'm Andrew Sherman. I'm a Texas transplant who has always been in pursuit of art as a career. I've played in bands, pursued an acting career in Hollywood, but I found it behind the lens of a camera here in Dallas, Texas. I was born in New York, I've lived in Chicago, Los Angeles, Austin, but I love Dallas. There's a magical artistic scene in Dallas that mostly goes unnoticed to the outside world. This podcast is focused on what makes it so special and the people who make it thrive artistically. If you don't live here, and even if you do, you might not have heard of them. This is the Dallas Famous Podcast. So who you gonna be? Who you gonna be when you're all grown up? This week on the Dallas Famous Podcast, we welcome Erin Parisi. She's an Emmy-Nominated filmmaker, producer, photographer, director, writer, and production designer. Erin also serves as president of Women in Film Dallas and co-founded Kinetigraf Entertainment, which has contributed more than $600,000 in media and design services to local nonprofits and film festivals. With a passion for knowledge, community, and the arts, she has become a leading advocate for Dallas creatives. Join us as we dive into her journey and impact on Dallas culture. Here it is. The Dallas Famous Podcast is supported by the Mullen & Mullen Music Project. The Music Project was created by Mullen & Mullen Injury Law Firm to champion the independent music scene in North Texas. Welcome back to the Dallas Famous Podcast, Deep Ellum Community Center. I've got Erin Parisi with me. You do so many things. You're a lot of great things. I didn't even realize until I did some research, actually until you sent me your resume. But like, if somebody asks you, what do you do? Like, who are you? Like, what do you tell them?
I usually try to talk about whatever I'm doing in the context which we're in. So if I'm shooting a concert, I just talk about the concert photography, or if I'm at a film event, I'll talk about being a filmmaker. But because I realize it's very overwhelming for people. It's overwhelming for me too.
That makes sense though, because we've only really seen each other in context of concerts. So I've only known you. Well, I knew that you're the president of Dallas Women in Film, which you said started just the beginning of this year.
Yes, January 1st. So I have a 2-year term. I'm so excited to be the head of this organization.
Well, let's start with that. Like, what is that exactly?
So it is an organization here in Dallas that's 41 years old, and it is to empower, promote, and educate women and just, highlight female voices. Because, it's been a hard go for women throughout history and stuff, and we're still dealing with a lot. And there are different challenges we're facing in 2025 than when the organization was founded in 1984. But it's such a valid, important group just to make people feel safe and heard. And we have a lot of men that are members and supporters that come to our events too. So it's just a beautiful thing in the community to just, again, highlight women's voices.
Right. Excellent. How did you get involved in that group?
A good friend of mine and mentor took me to my first meeting after, it was probably a year after I had worked on my first film, which was a feature film, which was crazy to work on as your first thing ever. And I didn't go to film school. I have a art background, but I did not study film, and I never studied photography formally. So I learned on that first set on the job.
You were directing that, or?
No, I was a producer on that project.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's maybe even harder to do.
Yes. Well, I started as a ghost artist. They needed an artist to be doing drawings in the film.
Okay.
And they found me at Amsterdam Bar, actually drawing one night on Jazz Night, which is really cool. And I thought they weren't serious because they were like, "Oh, we're making a movie. You need to come see us." And I was like, "I think you're just hitting on me. I don't really think," which both were probably true in this case. But after a month, I did go and meet with the director and the other producer, and we just all hit it off. And that started it for me. That's how I got sucked into the crazy circus of the film world.
Wow. Okay.
And doing the drawings for the film would have been just a dream thing to do. But I was lucky that, or I don't know, maybe I wasn't. They found out that I had a lot of other skills that they put to use as we got going. And so that's how I ended up being a producer on that. And I don't even think I've made less than a penny per hour for all the years on that film, because films never die. They go on forever. You have to file taxes, and they have this life. And when you're at the top, you're responsible for everybody's hard work on the set and their art and what they've given. And I take that very seriously as a steward of that.
That's cool. Okay, I've worked on a lot of movies, but I did not know about that part of it.
Yes. I mean, you form an LLC or an Inc. for that film, and they just live on, and you have to file taxes every year and figure out, too, what happens when you're not here. What occurs for that film when you're no longer here to be, the carrier of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And we just had an actor pass away in July. One of the lead actors of that film, Bill Flynn, who was just a dear friend and mentor. I learned so much from him on that set because I was so green. I did not know anything, and I did get in trouble a few times because of that. Of taking Bill off the set to get props for a scene, and but anyway, you're supposed to ask first, just so everyone knows. I did not know that yet, but he just passed away, and that brought up a lot of questions about what's going to happen when I'm not here, or the other producers and directors aren't here.
Interesting.
Yeah,
never even thought about that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all this stuff you don't. I mean, and this is true for any movie. I mean, it's obviously easier if it's MGM or Paramount or Lionsgate in charge, because that company's probably going to go on, right?
Yeah.
But and there'll be other people to deal with it. But for smaller independent filmmakers, it really is a thing, And I often think, I mean, Linklater in Austin, I'm sure, has done more protections with Austin Film Society for his work, but a lot of other filmmakers, we don't have that opportunity. Mm-hmm. So it's something to think about.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. Well, let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
So you're from Chicago, is that right?
Yes, I was born in Chicago, and then, as they say, got here pretty soon as a little kid.
Okay.
My dad had a job that brought us here. He had been working here for some time, and then my mom and I moved down. And then, so basically all my schooling's here, but since both my parents were born and raised in Chicago, I spent probably 4 months out of the year there or more until I was 21. Every summer I've worked there. My first boyfriend was there, which, was an interesting choice to have a long distance relationship where all your family is. It would have been much easier to be here and do that, because it allowed for lots of funny interactions with the family, of course.
Yeah.
But I have so many childhood friends. I've babysat kids on my relatives' streets and walked their dogs. And so it is truly home for me. And I'm very much a product of both Chicago and Texas.
Yeah, I went to school in Chicago, grew up outside in Indiana, and there's a vibe that you have that reminds me of a lot of people I know in that sense. So growing up in both places, what was your first kind of love that is something that translated to what you're doing now? Was it film? Was it photos, music?
I think it was just, my parents were really a fan of cultures of all over the world. They had traveled a lot, unfortunately before me, to a lot of foreign countries, but we were very fortunate to do some traveling together too. Mm-hmm. But so they just instilled in that, and I honestly went to an amazing preschool where we studied about all cultures and all religions and all holidays, and that was very influential when I look back, really. And my parents had friends from all over, so I was always exposed to people of different countries and cultures. So that just became something that was innately instilled in me, and I just thought that's how everybody was, And so I think that passion of studying things, my parents always went to museums. As everyone jokes in the family, something went wrong there, because I really, 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 really love museums, and I can spend 8 hours there alone. I promise I don't torture other people when I go with them. I try to share the experience, but if I can be alone, I will go and hang out. I've been busted by many a security guard at museums, especially at the Art Institute in Chicago, where this one guy came up and he's like, "Are you here by yourself?" Because I had been in this one exhibit for 3 hours on Camille Claudel, but her work is never seen in the U.S. There are 10 pieces in the whole country, so it was very special that this exhibit was happening. So, but yes, I'm famous for going to any museum, anywhere, at any time and just learning things. So I think really to answer your question, it's the art. It was a love of art.
Okay.
And my mom's sister, Auntie Kim, I mean, they have a wonderful collection too of French posters, and so lithography was a big deal, which I eventually got to do in college at UT and study with Ken Hale, which was a thrill, and make some lithographs on giant limestones using forklifts and, acid to burn it into the limestone. It's just so cool.
Wow.
So
you were like an artist first?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Interesting.
I think that would be the best way to categorize it. But, I just love learning about anything. I mean, that will kill me faster if you tell me I cannot learn anything else. It's just life will be over for me because and that's about history. It's about someone's business. It's about, art, whatever, culture, country, food.
It seems like you don't just learn about stuff. It seems like you become involved in the scene.
Yes, that's probably a true statement.
Okay, well, you went to UT.
And in here in Dallas, I was at Episcopal School of Dallas, which was so influential. I am, still in touch with the school and so many of my teachers. They are dear friends and have been just such amazing guiding lights in my life. And my art teachers, Vicki Martin, Kathleen Raymond, I mean, I don't know what I would have done without them. Along with my mom and my auntie, they were all the pivotal people in my life teaching me things.
Okay.
Yes.
And then you worked at some of these museums too.
Yes. I had lots of internships, and then
at the Smithsonian?
Yes,
wow.
in DC. I loved being in DC. I hope everybody gets an opportunity to visit our Capitol. I mean, it's such an amazing thing to see what our tax dollars are doing and what's there. But being at the Smithsonian was a dream for a museum junkie like me.
Yeah.
52 buildings comprised, or maybe it's 53 now, actually, but with the Smithsonian. And they're just amazing. And, you could go in 5 museums a day. And just seeing how Washington works on a day-to-day basis was really cool to be on the mall, and so many free events for people to go to if you're visiting or live there. It's just such an international, exciting place to be. And I'm really glad that I had the opportunity. And I was based at the National Museum of American Art in the Portrait Gallery, and we were 10 people chosen from around the world, and it was incredible. I mean, you did things like work in the basement and build crates for the art, which honestly was one of the coolest things because everybody there were artists. They were all these amazing artists. I mean, this one gentleman, he was selling his work. I mean, presidents owned all his pieces. He was selling his work in galleries in New York for $100,000. He just had always had this job, and it was like his day thing. And, it was just a great lesson that everybody's important, and everybody who works in a museum or in any company or restaurant or whatever in life has a great purpose, and it's important to know their story.
Yeah.
Because the curators upstairs maybe didn't always know that stuff about the people downstairs kind of thing.
Upstairs, downstairs.
Yeah. And so that was a great lesson. And, I got to work on a lawsuit. I got to, that the Smithsonian was involved in. I, got to crawl in the attic of the Smithsonian, which is really an attic. I mean, it is insanely cool. And right now, for instance, like our big state fair, the Big Tex boots are at the Renwick Gallery, which is part of the Smithsonian. And so I got to do a lot of stuff there, which was really cool.
Wow.
So, but I don't know. I mean, it was just an amazing experience. And I mean, if you can't be there, at least go visit. It's so worth it.
Yeah. And then you worked at other museums. Like what made you stop working at museums?
Well, that's kind of how I got into film. So I had started this thing that I was calling the virtual docent. And so this was right out of school. So I was always bored by some of the guides that you get in the museums, but that they were so limiting and they only let people look at certain pieces of art and left out all these other great masterpieces. And they just weren't fun. So I was trying to come up with a competitor one. And I got to do it with the Nasher DMA and the Crow Collection for a Jesus Marolis exhibition that was happening here, which I got to work with him and film him, which was just incredible. And I actually recorded his audio at the KERA studios. So this was just right before I was, able to be asked to be in a film and work on a film. And also around that time, I was also volunteering at the Dallas International Film Festival. So I had this was during the AFI time when they had the super money and it was really flashy, and Anne Margaret and Bill Paxton and all these huge people were coming to Dallas, right? And I met James Faust at the first screening, who's the artistic director of DIF. And it was a documentary, and I'm still in touch with a documentary filmmaker. And I asked a bunch of questions. So afterward, Faust was like, "Hey kid, come here." He's like, "Will you come back? I'm going to give you some vouchers and stuff." And they've honestly never been able to get rid of me since. Now I volunteered the next year. Then after that, I applied for a job and started working at the festival. I was trained by Raymond Garcia, the best theater head of any festival anywhere. He's just amazing. And, I started working there, and then kind of concurrently, I got this opportunity to work on a film. And then, I've been lucky to show my films there over the years. And that was so cool to be part of the Texas competition and other short film competitions with them. And, how neat is that to show your film in your own backyard with all your friends and family?
Awesome. A lot of people making a band and putting it up there is one thing, but getting a film shown is pretty big.
It is. Just finishing a film is pretty big. Yeah. Just finishing one. And after I worked on that first one, I did a lot of production design work for some television shows and things. And I did get pretty frustrated because I was working on projects where people didn't finish them. So that's kind of how I came to understand that I really was meant to be a producer on projects, because I wanted to make sure things got across the finish line. Okay. And again, to be a steward of everyone's hard work that came out to put together something.
Is that when you started, is it Kinetigraf Entertainment?
Yes, so that was started with Clay Luther, who was the director-writer of Cry, the first feature film I did. And we went through a couple editing phases of that film. Every film's a journey, and that film called Cry, we all joked that we had our cries and stuff. And you even cry when you watch the film, which is why I gave out Kleenex at the screenings.
Oh, nice.
But, there's just one part. But we owned it. But we decided when we were editing, we had other people try to edit it, and we were not satisfied. So we went back together and we just sat there here in Deep Ellum and at our office and just started, going back through it. And we were like, we really like working together and doing this. And so we created Kinetigraf Entertainment, which is a little Easter egg to the film industry in itself, because the Kinetigraf was, accredited to Edison. He may have stolen it from another guy.
Perhaps.
but so we used that for our thing. And our logo is kind of based on the Georges Méliès film, To Earth to the Moon, with a little plane. Sure. But we turned our plane into a chicken with a Texas star and stuff. So I don't know. It's super geeky.
My notes say that that Kinetigraf has donated over $600,000 in services to nonprofits and festivals.
Yes. Much to poor Clay. When he met me, he had not done that much nonprofit work. And of course, I don't know. I've been volunteering forever. Forever. And as a little kid, my parents would take me to work at the hospital with them. And so, I think they were tired of me raiding the supply closet. So they hooked me up with a volunteer director of the hospital and stuff. So I did things from being an elf, age-appropriate things at first, and stuff. But I earned my jacket and I earned my volunteer pin. So that was instilled early, and then, definitely reinforced with ESD, and then just who my parents were in general, what was important to them in their life to give back to the community. So I drank that Kool-Aid really early and stuff. So that was a really important thing for me to do with our company. And luckily, Clay agreed. So we've helped film festivals. We've been a sponsor at Dallas International Film Festival, Women of Texas Film Festival, Asian Film Festival of Dallas for many years. And then other nonprofits like Beacon Hill Prep, which helps Tier 3 students in DISD succeed. They have 100% success rate helping kids read and do math, because if you don't help children in third grade, it is a pipeline to prison, as it's called. And these Tier 3 students are just forgotten. And, everybody learns differently. Everybody hears things differently, right? And they just help tutor kids and just are a support network for them. So it's been an honor to help people like that and other charities around town.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a big part of what you do.
Yes, it
and
is.
then,
Very
God,
important.
do we have enough time to talk about everything you've done? It says that you've worked in more than 30 film festivals, just as all different roles, or?
Yes, so I have been the managing director of several film festivals, Best of Fest, and also Dallas Video Fest, the 34th year with Bart Weiss. So, and those were honors to be a part of, because both Bart and Michael Caine have been amazing mentors to me. And Emily Hargrove had the baton for Best of Fest first, and then handed it over, which was really, all these people are all the people I started with at DIF and looked up to. So to pay your dues and work your way up, and then get to help carry on their traditions and things that they've established for our city was really so important to me and so special. It was really cool. But Best of Fest was a consortium festival of all the film festivals in Dallas that we bring together, and so it's a really neat thing, and we're trying to bring it back actually right now. So it things with COVID, things and other things went away, and legal things, kind of deal. But we're hoping to bring that back, because that was something very special to the DFW Metroplex.
Sure.
And we are so lucky to have such a vibrant film community at all levels. We have people who are amateur filmmakers that go out every weekend and make a film, and then get together with their friends and have a red carpet and premiere, and are just awesome, right? And we have professionals working at all levels too, with, from commercial work, which is over $100 million in Dallas alone, each year. And just if you combine the figures for the whole region, North Texas is a major player. And I'm really glad with the new film incentives.
Yeah.
We're getting that recognition now, and with the new studios that are being built here. We have 11 studios with killer green screens, and killer green screens. They're massive, some are on this everywhere, 4 walls of green screen kind of thing, and they're located all throughout the Metroplex, which gives so much opportunity to filmmakers working, and people coming to our area to film something too, which is really exciting.
Do you see? I'm guessing you're talking about this already, but do you see this even becoming a bigger community with those film incentives?
I do. We were so excited that SB 22 was passed, and I got to go down and actually as a representative for Women in Film for Dallas, and we joined with the Austin chapter, and we were part of Media Day at the state capitol during South by Southwest this past March, and that was such a cool thing to be a part of. We talked to lawmakers, just other people in the industry. The whole Capitol Mall area in Austin was just filled with people in TV and film and who loved our industry. And, it takes everybody to succeed working together, and all the facets are important, whether you're doing, video gaming, which Texas is #1 for video gaming, and specifically North Texas. And there are a lot of women who have, done very well in gaming, that have broken through a lot of glass ceilings in the gaming world too, which is really neat to see.
Did not know that.
Yeah. I didn't either until a little bit ago, so a few years ago, but it's just it's an amazing thing to know. And we have so much industry going on. And of course, Taylor Sheridan, amazing for Fort Worth and Weatherford and Ferris, Texas, for filming everything there. And, they've been down here in Deep Ellum too for Landman. And Michelle Pfeiffer was at Twilight filming last fall for a new spinoff called Madison. She was here. It was the day after the pop-up Jack White concert at Trees.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, there were all these electrical cables running down the street. And I'm like, these are film cables.
Yeah, you can recognize it when you see it.
Exactly. So I asked them at Twilight, and so they did a whole reset of it to make it look like a New York jazz club and stuff. So they had done different curtains and things. It was so cool to kind of see it. They hung different lighting, like chandeliers and things. It was really neat to kind of see.
Wow.
But
yeah, it's funny because I lived in LA and I moved here, and I think I went to some mixer and it was not fun, and I don't know if we remember the name of it, but it's like it seems like there's so much going on that I just wasn't aware of,
Well, I think, what's happening now in both our film and music community is so exciting. You have so many people who are here, who are interested in collaborating and really helping each other, and they're not just saying that. These groups really mean it, and I think we're just in a really special place and time to have this happen. And I think this has occurred before. You look back at Tremel Crow doing, the Las Colinas studios back in the 80s and everything. There were so many films done here. And we had amazing post houses. And, Dallas in general has been very commercial based, right?
Right.
And Austin was traditionally the movie place. But that's really changing, and it's just, there's so much everywhere, and that's a good thing. And you need it at all levels. You need the people who have a passion for filmmaking, and you need the Taylor Sheridans and the Matthew McConaughey's and Glenn Powell's too.
What's funny is I had to get some breakaway bottles. There's only one expendable place in the whole DFW.
Oh,
did you know that?
Is expendable,
dependable expendables?
Yes, dependable expendables.
Yeah, and I'm like, I was like, there's gotta. Yes. I was like, if you're looking to start a business, trust me, that's where to go.
I know. Christopher Bigby and his wife Amy are amazing.
Yeah.
And he also has the other thing, soft ice. So this was something else kind of cool that you don't know until you're like behind the curtain of movies, that you use soft ice in a scene because it would be too loud for all the microphones to pick up.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're ever seeing a scene of people eating at a restaurant and pouring water or something like that, it's soft ice.
Yeah. No, he tried to sell me some. I'm like, we just need the bottles. We're good.
I know. He gave me a bunch of like cash, like movie cash. So it's all these like $100 bills, which is also kind of fun, So like, right. I know. But for set design, it's so much fun getting to do all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I worked on one horror film specifically because I got to create a serial killer's like, their lair and stuff. And I got to like do all these freaky things, specimens in containers and have all these things because he would behead people and then pull out their brains. So I was down at Rudolph's getting pig brains so that I could freeze them in a mold, a Halloween mold of a brain, that people do for ice for their punch and stuff. And I also went to Walmart and got, you see, there are all the hair gels and there are all these like neon colors in jars and stuff. So I got those and scooped this stuff out and then put other pieces of meat specimens and fishing lures and weird things,
That's funny.
I know. I grossed out everyone on set. No one would even like touch things when we were throwing it all away at the end.
You did a good job.
Yeah, it was really fun. Doing production design stuff and coming up with props is I love it because you get to think outside the box, and I love getting to go to Home Depot and Lowe's and just wandering around. I love all the power tools, and I love just trying to come up with something. And they always are like, "Can we help you?" And I'm like, I don't think so, because whatever I'm doing is some crazy thing, right? That is not a standard. I have a plumbing issue, or
right? In LA it was a little like normal. Like you could be going and even be dressed weird. People didn't think anything of it. Here it's very out of the box for people,
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure in LA it's much more common for
Yeah, you go down the
everyone
street
to-
and someone's in a costume and you're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
it
no
just
big
means
deal.
nothing. Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
regular.
pretty
but
funny.
yeah, but it's fun. And I did build playhouses for Casa, Dallas Casa. That was one other thing I'm really proud that I got to do.
Huh.
And that actually goes back to my auntie and uncle in Chicago. Who were having a garden walk at their house, and my boy cousins, who are my rent-a-bros, they had destroyed their fort kind of thing. So my auntie and uncle were like, hey, you want to help like rebuild this and make it into something else? And I'm like, yes. So I had so much fun, and nobody said no. It was like a limited budget. The only thing they said no about is I wanted to make a real chimney stack on the outside, and I couldn't do that, but I had a fake chimney inside.
Okay.
But I made this really cool playhouse, and we have this special door knocker that's like this antique sprite that we got at an antique fair, and copper on it that matches their Victorian house roof. I just loved it. And I had wanted to do it because growing up here in Dallas, my favorite mall ever, North Park Mall, and it's my favorite because of the art. Well, I like the shopping too, and the theater. I'm not going to lie about that, but also the art collection. I love that you get to walk by millions of dollars of art.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's just such a great free museum for everyone. And it's such a cool thing. And so unique in the world. But every year, Dallas Casa does a Playhouse Parade, and this has been going on for over 35 years. And I had seen these playhouses in the summer. I saw an elaborate pirate ship one time. It was so cool. I would love to meet the person that built that and stuff. And I was like, oh, these are such amazing little things. So after my experience in Chicago working on this playhouse, I signed myself up when I returned to Dallas to build for Casa, not really understanding that I did not own all the power tools or everything like my uncle does for his construction business.
Right.
I did not have all the same things. So the first one was really a challenge. And these go into the mall at that time. They all go in the summer. So I was out there, it was like 120, and you're building this thing on your driveway, right?
Oh,
And it's
man.
raining, and your paint's not drying anyway. And then you have to move it to North Park Mall. That is your responsibility in that program. And it's just an insane process. But I did it like 10 more times or something after that. So yeah, it's really neat. But that's something I'm really proud of. Just seeing the joy on people's faces, being by the playhouses. And of course, for me, it was like a little film set, right? And
Sure.
it was a pressure cooker of time because you only had a little bit of time, which is like being on a film set and doing something,
Right.
and seeing the joy on the kids' faces. I also made kids cry, unfortunately, when they did not win the raffle. My mother was handing out cookies for people from Mrs. Fields at the mall at that one, but it was such a neat thing. And I
Yeah.
actually had the mall cops called on me by the Lush Boutique. That was one of my favorite stories about that too, because somebody had put the raffle tickets, which are just $5, which I love because that's accessible to every family, really.
Sure.
And they move the playhouse to wherever you want for free when you win. But somebody had put the tickets in the house, which was a little elephant kind of tea house. So the trunk was a slide, and they just geek way out on these things. But I saw the tickets inside, and they were supposed to go in the box. So I went and opened the door and, got them out. But the Lush Boutique people thought I was breaking into their little house, as they put it, because they loved it, which was so cool. And they called the North Park cops, who came running over, and stuff. It was really funny, but
gosh.
it was really cute.
That's
so I
very
thought it
funny.
was, yes. it was
Man,
like-
we still got more to cover with you. How did you, you obviously have a love for music, especially local music. How did you get involved in the local music scene and photography specifically?
I think, again, I guess I credit my parents for a love of music. My dad was a drum major in college, and he always wanted to manage bands, and did for a long time, and like ran the student event center and stuff in Iowa, at University of Iowa, and stuff. And then I guess they decided he needed to do something more practical once they got married and stuff. So then he didn't do that. But music was just always a part of our lives, and so important. important. And so, I mean, I think it just came out of, a love for concerts and just going. And then I had people like my mom and Georgia Peach also encouraging me all the time, like, why aren't you bringing out your camera, Erin? You have all this stuff. Why aren't you bringing it out? And I was like, you're right. And so I started bringing it out, and just playing. And, we have so many wonderful friends who are so talented.
Oh, yeah.
And this also kind of happened at the same time I started this punk rock documentary that we're working on that deals with Austin in 78 to 84 time period. And it's some filmmaker friends from here that, again, were mentors that had this wonderful idea and were part of the scene in Austin, which really made Austin into the music capital of Texas that we know it to be today. Was this group of people who were all at UT together, who made these films. It's like the origin of South by Southwest. Jonathan Demme showed all their graduate films. This is why Linklater moved to Austin, why Slacker happened, and Lewis Black's in Slacker, and then the creation of the Chronicle and everything. It's just the genesis of that whole period of what we all love now and think is just normal and has always been like that.
Sure.
And stuff. And so I was looking at a lot of photos of the time of all these photographers, and one we've been working with, Ken Hogue, was a photographer of that scene. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, gosh, we've got that going on now in Deep Ellum. I mean, we've had, Charlie Crockett and Abraham Alexander and Leon Bridges and Mitchell Ferguson and Karina Grove. I mean, we have all these people, Angel White, all these people and all the musicians underneath them that are exploding and traveling. And I'm like, it's kind of like the same thing that I'm talking about years ago, 40 years ago, but this is now for us. So I was like, I think I need to listen to Georgia and my mom.
Yeah.
And then also Evie Borman. She was the other person that has really encouraged me to, get out there and actually show people the photographs, because there was a long period where I was just taking them, but I wasn't showing them to anyone. And I'm still pretty shy about that, honestly, as you know, because I do.
You do good work. What's funny is people think I'm everywhere, and like I'm always somewhere, and I'm like, well, there's Erin. She's also here. You're also everywhere. And like I don't have all this other stuff I'm doing. I don't know how you have time for all of it.
Well, for me, the concert photography is such a passion. I mean, it's all a passion for me. I don't think there's probably anything I do. I mean, maybe some boring meetings sometimes, or
well,
whatever.
You got to facilitate the
grunt
stuff.
work, taxes, not fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love being there, and I love capturing those moments. And for me, it's become very meditative.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel that way.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's, and especially as a producer in film, which is so collaborative. You go to the concert, it's just you usually, right? Or I mean, you're your lone duck, right?
Sure.
Doing it.
Yeah.
And you can't control anything. You can't control the lighting. You can't control the energy of the crowd. You can't control the energy of the musicians on stage. You don't know if they're going to move. You can't control, as you always said, the microphones. I think of it all the time. I hear your voice in my head going, God, there needs to be clear microphones. And I'm always like,
if you can create that, we will love you forever. The invisible microphone stands.
Exactly. Or just switch to the little tiny something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, so it's all chaos. And then you find that moment, in that chaos and capture it forever for history. It's just so cool to me.
Totally.
And I love our photographer community. I mean,
we have amazing photographers here. There's so many. And I was like saying this before, it's like when I first started, I was competitive. I was like, I want to be the one. Now I'm like, well, as long as you're there or Waffles is there, if I can't be there, like one of us is covering it, it's getting documented. That's what's important,
100% agree.
Yeah.
And honestly, I actually really love it when we're all there. I think that's so much fun.
That's fun too.
Yeah,
sure.
it is, because our eyes are all different and we
Yeah.
all capture something different and we're all looking for something different.
Yeah.
And for me, especially since I'm not always connected to a press outlet. Some of the times when I'm someplace, it's maybe for an artist or for the venue, right? Which, and you guys, both you and Waffles and Mike Brooks get to do so much
Jason
more.
Janik too.
Yes, for, more press, true press, right? So we're all capturing different things. So, and I'm always looking for that moment when they're maybe not on the mic, right up close on the microphone, of that more, I'm looking for the movie in the image, right? I mean, that's what I'm looking for. And then I love the light, right? I try to play a lot with the light. But anyway.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
It's absolutely. I want to talk more about that, but
I know,
I got two more things I want to ask you about at least. This just started the Women in Dallas Music, is that?
Yes. So Women in Music Dallas just started. Now, the interesting thing is, I think this is really cool, especially having been so involved in being the president of Women in Film Dallas. So this organization has been also around 40 years.
What?
Yeah. And we've never had a chapter here.
Oh, okay.
And Maureen Womack was like, why don't we have one? And so she puts this team together of these amazing women. I mean, just incredible. I love our meetings because it's like powerhouse people sitting there. And, we just are all so excited to, again, highlight female voices in the community.
Sure.
And we just had our first event in August on the 21st at Sundown, and we had an overwhelming showing. We were blown away by the support from the community and who came out.
Yeah.
And we are thrilled to kind of navigate this process. And it's a little different than Women in Film, where you control your own chapter. Locally, you're in complete control. Women in Music has more of a central base in Tennessee.
Okay.
That everything is kind of done through a centralized chapter. So I mean, pros and cons to both approaches, for sure. But we're really excited to, just share some other things in the community. And I'm heading up events and programming, which from all the little charity nonprofit things, I end up planning a lot of events for someone who's never been truly the event planner. I certainly could switch careers very easily. I have had years of experience doing things. But I'm really excited about that because there's such a crossover. I mean, you can't have a film without music,
right,
and
exactly.
that's so great for musicians to plug, do sync rights for TV and film. I mean, that is great bread and butter mailbox money.
Absolutely.
And through my career in film, I've also done a lot of work with the Grammys and the chapter in Texas specifically. It's just an amazing organization. And so we've gotten to do such fun things over the years, from filming Jimmy Jam or Harvey Mason giving a speech, and I'm always sitting there going like, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm in the room, just recording this kind of thing, to helping. We've done a country doc for them and on Texas artists, which was really cool, and just interviews throughout the years. It's really neat collaboration.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to kind of bring those two things together for Women in Music and Women in Film, because I feel like I'm in a unique position to kind of share some of that knowledge with everybody. So I'm excited to contribute that way to our community.
You're kind of like a bridge of the two programs. Like, I could see an event that's cross-contaminated, as it were.
Yes, I have a very exciting one that I really want to do.
Oh, cool.
So I'll tell you after.
Okay, yeah. I mean, also, you're on the board of the Dallas Entertainment Awards.
Mm-hmm. So
do you sleep ever?
Not much. Not much.
Yeah.
It's called being single, right? And
okay.
I also realize, and also part of the concert photography too is like, it gave me a purpose to be someplace.
Yes.
I mean, I certainly am very independent, but just like everybody, it's hard sometimes to go places alone. I think I've gotten over that in my life, but it gave me a purpose to be places.
Sure.
And so that's how I got involved in a lot of things, because I wanted to contribute, but I didn't always have a date or a husband or somebody to bring with me. So
that's how I got involved in concert. I was moved here single, and I was like, I just need to go out.
Yeah.
And so I'd start shooting shows. So I get it Totally.
Yeah. And so, and Desi I've known for years, and I am so proud of him, of what he's doing. And again, another powerhouse group of people working together to put on that award show. And, we were so lucky for so many years that the Dallas Observer had the Doma Awards. And then when that couldn't continue, it's really nice that the community led by Desi has picked up the charge and is doing it. So, and we're so excited. We'll be back February 4th.
Yep.
Did you know February 4th
I did hear that.
Bomb Factory?
Yep.
Yeah. So
in the big room, right?
The big side.
Oh,
Thank God.
Yeah. That was very crowded last year.
No, my goodness, it was.
I couldn't even get to the stage, really.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. But, and in that case, I'm helping with the videography and, photography team.
Oh, cool.
And stuff. So, which, second nature thing. It's really fun to get to do that. And oh my God, such great pictures from last year too, of the still photos. Just amazing. And the turnout of our community, from punk rock to country, alternative, goth, whatever. Isn't that cool?
It was fun. I didn't used to really like award shows until that one. And now I'm like, it's like every year I find a new cool outfit. Me and my wife go and, and they usually do my categories early so I know one way or the other and I can get out if I have to.
Yeah. And again, this is why I think, people are always like, well, you work in entertainment, why don't you want to live in New York or LA? And I certainly love visiting LA. I am so grateful for all the media and wonderful movies and music LA has given us. And I certainly love going there and working, no doubt. And I lived in New York City, so I've been a New Yorker. I really love New York too, but Dallas has it going on. Our North Texas Metroplex with Fort Worth, Denton, even down to Waco. Our circle is huge.
Yes.
And I'm so proud of what we're doing. And I argue all the time with people in Austin, especially at ACL Live, like Terry Lacona. So all the time that, Dallas is better than Austin for music. I
100% agree.
Right?
Yeah,
right? More clubs per night playing, more opportunities for musicians to play.
Yep.
Certainly, things have gotten a little more expensive, of course, with inflation.
Yeah, but still cheaper than Austin. And also, I've said this on this show, it's like we're homegrown. The talent's homegrown here. It's not so much, I'm going to go to Austin and bring my band. It's like, no, people are from here. This is like,
exactly,
hotbed of talent.
Exactly. And I hope with women in music, women in film, the great work Visit Dallas and Dallas Creates is doing, both with our film commissioner, Katie Shook, and then our music commissioner, Christina Hart. They are really working to have a great backbone for people to be successful, to be homegrown here and get to stay here.
Yeah.
The names who have come out of Deep Ellum since its founding in 1873 are astounding, right? It's just incredible, the people who have come out of here and who have come here to play.
Yep.
So I hope we do better in getting that word out to other parts of the world.
Sure,
so they
it's
know.
happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
I've heard other cities say that the A&R people are keeping an eye on Dallas. Whatever that means these days with signing people, but
Yeah, no, I think, Leon was such a great bridge again for people, right? Because he was able to help bring notice, of course, St. Vincent, same thing. We have Edie Brickell. There's so many great people.
Yeah, and we had Joshua Ray on. I was actually really surprised how he is a big advocate for Dallas music and staying here and not moving on, expanding, but bringing it back,
Exactly. And his tour to Europe, I was just blown away when he was talking about being in Northern Europe, like in Sweden and Norway, and that he was charting higher than Rihanna and other people. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool.
That's amazing.
Because it's just about the music. In other places, it's not. Obviously, star power is huge everywhere. But I thought that was so neat because
his music. God, I didn't really do a deep dive until he came on, and I was like, I'm waiting to find a bad song here.
Right. And I first met him, I was living at Futura, and I had gone to All Good Cafe. Happened to be on a Wednesday, lucky for me, because he was running the open mic, the Wednesday open mic at that time. And I was like, oh my God, who is this guy and this voice, and he was just so kind and sweet. And, and again, I think that's another thing that sets our community apart, because people are actually good people here.
Yeah.
And that's not something you can say everywhere.
Yeah. Good people and accessible.
Yes.
For the most part,
And I think our music community especially is so supportive and helping each other.
Really.
And to me, that was so special about COVID. I mean, this is something that Georgia and I have talked about a lot, because, the Freeman opened back up really early. And, you had, and still you do, all these Grammy Award winners just hanging out because they couldn't tour all over the world at that time.
Sure.
So everybody was just jamming together,
Yep.
And we were so spoiled. We're so spoiled all the time.
Even still.
Yeah.
You can get into the shows for some of these Dallas artists that are blowing up. You can't get a ticket in other cities.
Right. And that's always been such a special thing about Dallas. We are such an international city. So much of the world is run out of Dallas, whether that be oil, power, whatever, tech with, back in the EDS days and, everything, right? Texas Instruments, all the things. So, Dallas is just a major player, and people love to come here and visit, in Fort Worth too.
Yeah,
for sure. And then what happens in Denton with UNT and their music program being one of the best in the world, and their Grammy Award-winning student bands, and their incredible teachers, from composers to jazz to piano to, violin, whatever. It's just, we are so freaking lucky here.
Yes.
And to me, I love traveling. Love traveling. I love going on adventures, and I will go rent a car and drive around the country for a month by myself and experience things. But I'm always like, I really love it here, but there's no music, there's none of that music and art. And it's really hard to think about ever wanting to be anywhere else.
Honestly, Erin, we are lucky that you feel that way, because all the stuff you do, I am so glad you were on, because I think me and anybody listening gets to know, because you're not exactly in the spotlight, but what you're doing for the community is amazing. And so thank you for that. And thanks for being on the show. And we'll be looking out for all the projects you're working on. And well, say hi if you see Erin at a show.
Yes, please do. I love meeting people, and thank you for letting me be on and talking about this, because I'm really good at doing PR for other people, but really bad about talking about
You are
things.
the best kept secret in this whole community, I would say, honestly. But anyway, thanks again for coming on.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Erin for joining us today. You can check out all her stuff in the show notes. Thank you to the Deep Ellum Community Center for letting us record here. Theme song Unstoppable by Salim Narala, and the outro is The Place to Be by Electric Ants. Thanks again to the Mullen & Mullen Music Project for their support. Like, subscribe, and share the podcast, and we'll see you next week.